What is a Stokes interview? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our office here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today I'm fired up. I just got back from the immigration service from an hour-and-a-half long Stokes interview. You've probably heard that phrase before and are wondering what exactly a Stokes interview is. So what we're talking about is a green card application based on marriage. And so in this case, a U.S. citizen filed for her fiance, then husband, and was a husband at the time that she filed. She filed an I-130 petition for alien relative on behalf of her husband, and she filed a green card application. Now, a Stokes interview is an interview in which the couple is separated and each spouse is asked pretty much the same questions. I have to tell you that today was the longest and most detailed Stokes interview that I'd ever been in, and I have to tell you too that the officer was very well prepared, very organized. She asked lots of good questions, and I thought that the whole process was fair and conducted well. Now, before we begin, let me tell you let me set the table for you. My clients and I walked in, and I prepared them for the interview a couple weeks ago. We got ready, we talked about the kinds of questions they could expect, the documents that they needed to bring. This was, interestingly, a case that I did not file. I was only hired to handle the interview. I don't usually like to do that, I don't usually do that, but in this situation, we agreed, and the clients hired me to do just the interview and the prep. So I did all that. Anyway, when we walk into the room, there's an officer there who I've actually never seen before at the St. Louis field office, and behind her are 3 other immigration officers. I thought this was very strange. I've seen 1 extra officer, maybe 2, but I've never seen 3 officers in the room at the same time, sort of laid out there, all sort of glaring at us to varying degrees. Now, my clients, they were fine, they were confident, they shared their documents, and then after they went over all the marital documents, the officer who was conducting the investigation asked the U.S. citizen female spouse to go out and wait in the hall. And she then proceeded to ask the husband probably a half hour's worth of questions. And these questions included, obviously, how did you meet? What kinds of things do you guys like to do together? Sort of the marital history. And this particular couple did not really live together all that long or even know that each other all that long before getting married. So that was an interesting detail and something that the officer sort of pounded home. The couple really hadn't spent much time together before getting married. Now, the non-citizen in this case is in valid F1 status. He's a student at a local university, and he's been going to school, and he's in status, so there really is no incentive to engage in any kind of marital immigration fraud. So I understand why the officer decided to do the Stokes interview, and it only dawned on me sort of halfway through that what was going on was she was training. These were new officers sitting in the chair. They were watching a Stokes interview. I guess they haven't had many opportunities to conduct them or to watch them, so because USCIS decided to do a Stokes interview, they sat in. Nobody asked us if they could sit in, but they sat in nonetheless. My clients did remarkably well, and I was reminded of an old saying by Missouri's own Mark Twain, where he said that if you always tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. And my clients, their accounts of how they met, the kinds of things they did together, where they liked to go out to eat to dinner, what the last meal was they went out together, what gifts they gave each other on holidays, their whole marital experience, everything was tip-top, perfect. They absolutely nailed it. There was only really one little discrepancy, and the interesting thing is I think that's good because it shows that they weren't coached. I certainly didn't coach them. They were just very knowledgeable about each other, and they really did a good job standing and staring at the faces of 4 people, sort of grilling them each for about a half hour. So a Stokes interview can be an intimidating event. They don't do them in very many cases. They do it when there's something about the case that they don't like, something that makes them question the validity of the marriage. And I have to tell you that my clients nailed it. I was really, really proud of them. I kept copious notes during the interview. I wanted to make sure that if anyone ever tries to send us a decision that says their accounts were off, if they were off, it was by a matter of inches. It was nothing. It was very little. And I kept track of all the things that they said that corresponded with each other, and their answers were completely valid. So I was really happy for my clients. I think that eventually we're going to get an approval. I think they might slow walk this down at USCIS, but I think that we and our clients did a really good job of preparing them. They had lots of good documentary evidence and good testimony evidence, so I think that the case will ultimately be approved. If you're facing a Stokes interview, I definitely do not think you want to go into that by yourself. I think that these are very, very tough cases. I think that if you do that without an attorney, you're going to be in real trouble. So if you have questions about a Stokes interview, or if you've gotten called back for a second interview, a lot of times those are going to be Stokes interviews where the officer's trying to poke holes in your story. So make sure that you get good legal representation. If you want our help, we'd be happy to talk it through with you. You can reach us at 314-961-8200. You can email us at info@hackinglawpractice.com. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you around the bend. Thanks a lot.